Yung 9 and 2/3 was openly exposed na ito yung land of spice. Is it the land of spice? It's not. Is it the land of gold? It's not. Why? It's barren. Barren. So, that document between Ferdinand, Magellan, and King Manuel was to keep that thing in disguise. Now, sabi ko ba't importante yon? Because yung mga NHICP at saka Muhares panel, binabaliwala yan eh. That document is in the archives in Lisbon. Tama na. Archives in Lisbon. Itong document na ito na April 19, 1519 to keep the voyage in this to go to that Spice Island was kept under guise. Pero nahuli. Kung wala lang, hindi siya mahuli. Bakit? Remember, when Pigafetta went back, sinabi nila sa King of Spain and King of Portugal, hindi kayamanan ito. Ang dala ko gold or spice. Hindi. Kaya mga aking sulat by my hand. Doon niya linagay 9 and 2/3. Now, remember, sabi ni King Charles to keep under guise. Tayo mo na, ba't mo sinabi na 9 and 2/3? Tama. Bakit? Kasi, surprise siya, Pigafetta did not, went also to Portugal. There was no reason for him to go to King Manuel. Not King Manuel, already the third something. Kasi wala na si King Manuel na nagkuhan. Why did he go to the palace in Portugal? E nakalagay din, Masawa, 9 and 2/3. In Portugal, they really were secretive of the trips. All voyages, all written books about voyages and discoveries are kept secret. That's a total no-no by government. Penalty? If you expose that, death. So, ba't hindi pinatay si Pigafetta? Yung nandun the land of spices na at 9 and 2/3. Why? Because Manuel, the king of Portugal, knew that 9 and 2/3 was not a land of spice. They already know that it's Mindanao. And also, King Charles did not also castigate or imprison Pigafetta. Tuloy-tuloy ang kanyang voyage. Yan ang hindi maintindihan ng mga maintindihan na proponents. Na the 9 and 2/3 was a guise to conceal. Kasi alam mo, Masawa has the same latitude with Butuan. Magkatabi. Remember when Magellan arrived in that island, he did not dock in that island of Masawa. He did not dock in that island of Butuan. He docked in that island of Masawa. Okay. Nung nasa Masawa siya, on Friday, inibitan niyo ng King Shawi. Dito sa, bakit King Shawi? Kasi hindi pa naman nakikita si Kulambu eh. Thursday, Friday, and the early Saturday morning, kasi Saturday morning, dumating na si Raya Kulambu. Pero during the first 2 days, si Shawi lang. So dumating sila ng gabi ng Thursday, di ba? Early morning, Friday, inibitan niya yung King Shawi sa stern ng kanyang Trinidad. Sabi niya, sa ito mga compasses at saka mapas na ginamit namin at saka buwan na sa travel namin, ang purpose na he pointed at an island to go thither. Hindi niya kailangan sabihin yun. Ay, nandun na siya sa Masawa eh. Ba't niya kailangan, taas tayo. At ito, sinabi, to go to that island thither. So he was referring to another island nearby. And this was supported by during the Legazpi expedition, Loisa expedition, Saavedra expedition. So, kaya ang isang problema nga dito sabi nito Muhares, they never went to Butuan. They never went to Butuan. Yung first, Magellan, di ba? After 3-4 years, 55, nagpadala uli eh. Kasi sabi ng king, maraming dalang spice. Kasi nagdala yung spice, after 5 ships na pumunta, ang natira na lang isa, namatay, 18 na lang instead of 270 plus, 18 lang nakabalik doon. Although may natira doon sa Verde Island, ng mga 32. So, but anyway, ang nakarating sa Seville was only 18. Pero in spite of that, kumita. All because of the spice. So, sabi niya, bumalik tayo. Pababalikin. So, in 3 years, nagpadala. During the Loisa expedition. Now, during the Loisa expedition, kasama si Elcano. Elcano was part of the Magellan. Now, ang kwan dito si Loisa was si general. Okay. Kasama rito si Urdaneta. Okay. Now, namatay yung dalawa. Yung si Loisa, namatay. Pati si Elcano. Early trip. Tayo mo na, ba't nakapunta ito sa Bituan? Bituan na kasi spelling nun, Bituan. Sinabi ni Sir Gerardo na Elcano, kung ano yung pupunta na latitude, langit yun. Di ba? Because of the subsequent succeeding trips, si Urdaneta bumalik din, even up to the Legazpi expedition, kasama si Urdaneta. Expert na siya. He was the one who the Acapulco Philippine trade voyage. Acapulco trade system. So, lahat, kaya very klaro kasi, kaya sabi ko, nag-file ako ng kaso nga eh. Pagsisinungaling eh. Hindi pumunta sa Bituan. Lahat Butuan pumunta. Okay, bakit Butuan pumunta ito si Saavedra? Bakit? Kasi, recover niya yung mga tao na naiwan ni Loisa. So, hindi siya pupunta ron sa isang lugar, kundi pupunta sila kung saan. But more so in the Legazpi expedition, na talagang pumunta sa Butuan. Now, there's this crucial issue, no, of what the Muhares panel did, no. At doon ko nahuli. I'm sure you what that, di ba? The Limasawa proponents wanted the issue confined that it should only be one village, one island. Because if it's 2 island, di na Limasawa. Tama, di ba? So they use this supposedly narrative by, we call Bernardo de la Torre. Nasa libro yon, no? So Bernardo de la Torre, in the writings of Professor Borinaga, minention lagi yan, villages, western, eastern villages. So I got curious. Is there? Tayo mo na sandali. It seems these passages na repeat niya sa Bernardo document was similar to a book that I read. Parang hinanap ko at nakita ko yung similarities of the narrations of the events na nandito sa Conquistas de las Islas Filipinas. So there are now 2 books. Supposedly, in the Conquistas de las Islas Filipinas, narration ito by an author, also a De La Torre. But his first name was Hernando de la Torre. Captain Hernando de la Torre. The other one was Bernardo de la Torre. So pinipilit ni professor na, no, tama ako. Sabi ko, sandali, anong reference mo? Renefer ako sa isang libro. 520 pages, printin ko. Tama. He referred me a certain page, 2 pages. O ito, basahin mo, nandyan yung account na ini-istorya ko. I printed it. I furnished him the copy. Tayo mo na sandali. Iba naman ito. It's not the same passages that you use in your presentation before the Mujeres panel. There were no such thing as Western villages, there's no such thing Eastern villages, and Western port or something to that effect. Sabi ko, that's why he was forced to refer to me that Osorio Venerables on that page that I said. Sabi ko, wala naman dito. In fact, on those pages he referred me to were all Indios of Mindanao, na putol yung dinakapitate si Bernardo, and Bernardo was a magistrate. He was not a pilot. So, ultimately, he admitted that he doesn't have a source. Material yun. Very material. Bakit? Because there's no such thing as Eastern villages or Western villages. Hernando de la Torre, the Captain Hernando de la Torre, was a pilot of the boat San Juan. He made their narration very clear. Sorry kung baliktad. At Makagwa is again Masawa. Okay, Makagwa. Iba-iba naman, marami. Makanggor. Hindi naman sabi si Masawa lang Masawa eh. Pero marami Masana, Makango. Pero all the sailors then had different names. Magkapareho lang na Masawa is si Martin at saka itong si Juno Pilot. No? Na they said 9 degree of so Bernardo de la Torre was clear. Hernando de la Torre was clear. At Macagua, there is an island to the east and there is a port on the western side where ships are anchored. Tayo muna sandali. Very clear that there were 2 islands. Gumawa yung Chinese ng isang Visayan word sa China. Nagpadala na maliit sa isang factory, dinala sa Limasawa at ito. Chinese were traders. In Butuan, during the early discoveries in the 70s, in the riverbank inside of the riverbank are what they call files of plates. Files of plates. Brought there for trade. Kasi barter noon yun eh. We have barters. We don't have money. Although later na may mga money na collection ko which are Chinese coin. But in the early parts of the 16th, 17th, barter lahat yan. Barter. Tayo naman, ganun kayaman, they have plates, di ba? Kung yung plato mo, dahon, coconut, may plate dito, palitan mo na lang. Ito naman, hindi na. Because they were offering gold as if it's nothing. Sabi nga ni Pegafetta, dito, aywan ko ba't dito, ino-offer ang gold. Sa Spain, nagpapatayan. Sinabi niya, di ba? Well, dito, mas gold, ino-offer. So, importante to note that ganito. Magellan went with a purpose. Conquest and used that island for trade. And the trade that they have was spice. Now, sabi nga nila, hindi, sa Mindanao, kumuha ng spice. Pumunta sa Molucas. Which is true. Kasi tinuloy-tuloy nila from Mindanao. But in Butuan, they never talk about, they never talk about spice. They talk about gold being offered by the king, but not spice. But they had spices, Borneo, Palawan, karami nasa Borneo, konti Palawan, and then back all the way back to the Spice Islands. But ganito ang pansin. Kasi lagi sinasabi, no. From Mindanao, they went to the Moluccas for spice. Simpleng tanong lang. It was only in one island, two islands, that they put a cross. One is Argentina. They put a cross. Where they have to travel 4 days from the shore to that mountain. 4 days. Ang travel nila. Dito, wala sa Moluccas. They never put, because they term that as token. Token consists of a cross and a crown. That's the difference between Portuguese, the Arabs. Sabi nga nila, Spain, when they put a stake on all countries they conquer. All countries they conquer. And there was only one island they stake. It's in 9 1/3 by Albo. 9 1/3 was part of Butuan then. A summit of that mountain, when they stake that claim. Example lang. Would you stake an island 800 hectares with 5 ships purposely for 2 years, 275 to claim Limasawa? Impossible. There's no spice, neither gold. They stake it is only one island, not in any Molucca island. It was only in one in Mindanao, northeastern part of Mindanao. That's where they put this token. That's all. So sabi nga nila, pumunta Moluccas. Tama nga, pumunta Moluccas. But ang stake, para bang sinabi mo, punta ka riyan, ito yung muhon ko. Pumunta ka sa palibot. Pwede ka nang pumunta sa palibot kasi meron ka ng sign of conquest, possession. That sign, that token was a sign of possession. And it was only in Mindanao when they placed it. Not in Tidor, not in Palawan, not in Borneo. But that's it. Kaya iyan ang isa sa mga isa ng mga issue. They avoided, the Limasaw proponents, avoided the contract between King of Spain and Magellan. Between King of Spain and the contratation. The order of the king to keep it under guise. And other orders. Mas grabe pa, kasi Magellan was a Portuguese. He knew the secret, the need to keep under guise all their trip. When they went to Malacca in 1511, kinonquer nila yan, di ba? After Africa, when they were in Africa and then in India, laging sinasabi nila, saan ang source ng spice? Sabi nila, Africa. They always do that. Africa. But remember, si Venice, sa Venice, ang kayaman ng Venice, during the trip of Marco Polo. You know the Marco Polo trip? No? Venice was the trade center of spice then. In the 13th and 14th century. 2nd, 3rd, and 14th. That time ni Marco Polo yun. Kaya pag pumunta ka sa Spain, iyan nangyari yan dahil sa spice. But sila nasa dagat, trading. Ba't ka pa pupunta sa taas? Trading nandiyan na, pagbaba na, bibili na ng Europe. Because the price of spice was more expensive than gold. More expensive than gold. So, itong history itong ginawa ko is even different from that of other Butuan proponent. Because yung under guise, when the token was placed, is the most important. Now, to contravene the position of kana, yung non in total is this. Ganito na sinabi ni Kwan. Pag nakita itong ship, itong cross, dito again, alam na ng mga Spanish ships na nandito na kayo. Anong ibig sabihin? Huwag na silang tumuloy. Kasi there was a 10-year contract to trade for spice between the island of Spice and Spain. Ayaw nila na magkasalo-salo. Awayan yan eh. Sigurado. Sabi nga ni Galvan, it was the source of battles, fightings, during that spice trade. Kaya, sabi ko nga is, very important, that is that land that claimed that where Magellan went, was that an island of spice? Never. Dumating lang si Magellan doon sa boat, the Thursday, di ba dumating? Umakit ng king, inofera ng gold. Sabi ni king, wag. During the last day of that 7 days, nag-offer yung tao doon sa mga sailors, masi in exchange of necklace. Sabi nila, wag. Bakit? Baka pagbalik nila, mataas na presyo. So, wag pahalata. Because of course, Magellan intended to go back. His intention really was not to circumvent. His intention was to conquest and trade spices. Pero ano nangyari? Naiwan na lang 3 barko, kalahati na yung tao, 110 o 130 na yung tao instead of the 270s. Marami namatay sa Cebu. Di ba? Panay mga Barbosa, lahat ng mga sikat na kuwan, di ba? So, yung sinasabi nila, tama nga, the intention of Magellan was not to circumvent. Nag-circumvent na lang intention to circumvent yung Victoria dahil wala na silang tao. To control the island, you have to remember, you have to have people to control an island. See? So, isa yan sa mga material na yung libro ko, it's more, kung tutuusin mo, I just focus on the pages that they avoided. Number 2, sa kaysa tuloy ko. Yung Legarda, they never talk about yung that events during that Sunday morning and up to April. Hindi nila sinabi. All they have to do is put the manuscript of Pigafetta. 8 pages lang naman yun eh. 8 pages. Starting on Thursday, March 28, 28 na nandun sila, dumating sila 29 doon, hanggang sa April 3 na umalis. Yun lang. Bakit ayaw nila itape? That's more obvious during the Gangkaiko report. Panel report. Gangkaiko panel report. Tinanong ko, tayo mo na bakit maraming excess? Example, si JR, XX. Tama na, ba't ko hindi sinabi kung sino si JR? Titignan ko sa narrative, yung pala sinabi, si JR ay gwapo. Hindi magangkay ko report. They put excess on those very material events that identified that the mass was in Butuan under the domain of King Kulambo. Lahat tinanggal yan. Wars in the Muhares panel. Because in that 7 days event in that island, they only narrated Saturday morning and mid-morning of Sunday. Wala na. They avoided yung sinabi ko sa iyo kanina na why there was so little to eat. O huwag muna kayo umalis kasi magra-rice harvest ako para sa inyo. That area was the domain of Raya Kulambo, and that was Butuan. Very clear. Hindi ako nagsisinungaling. Basahin yung Blair and Robertson. Huwag yung preface. Basahin yung 8 pages. Mahaba kasi yung 88 pages yun eh. 88 pages o 90 pages. Basahin lang yung 8 pages kasi yun ang material as far as the first mass is concerned. Eastern mass is concerned. So, klaro ka ko, I am the only one who brought this case before the court. Pag sasagutin lang ako, sasagutin ko, sabi nila, ikaw naman hindi ka naman historian eh. Kami PhD in history. Lalabanan mo ko. Di ba? So, sinabi ko ngayon in-expose ko ngayon yung sulat nila about si JR. Tama mo na, gwapo pala si JR eh. Documents will be brought out that they went to Butuan. The first mass was done at the domain of Ray Culambo. At yung, marami pa, yung mga i-report ko ng mga supposedly kuno, yung mga leaves pa ng natumbang coconut, sinasabi na, ito limasawa pa rin. No. All of them were refuted in that book. But we were only focused on about 15 items, which was, I found, toward falsification. Ang masakit lang ganito. Okay lang sana pasahin ko niya. Na. Remember with my research, apurahan lang, di ba? At sinabi nila ganito. Kaya mabasa mo riyan kung anong pre-send ko sa kanila noon sa Cebu. Ang sabi nila sa akin, fiction daw yun. Conjectures. Sabi ko, yun nga nahuli ni Brito sa ship ni Victoria na Trinidad. That was not fiction. That is not fiction. Those contracts between King Charles Magellan are primary evidences where they were to go. And their purpose was for conquest and trade, using spice as the medium. Limasawa doesn't have a gram of spice. Doesn't have a gram of soil. Hindi naman yung quintas. So, kasi, mayroon kaming 10 kilos na quintas. No, I'm referring from the ground. Why? Because it's a coralized island. Corals doesn't have gold. You go to the mountain, Butuan, you have to remember na even now, we continue to discover testaments of history, antiques. Marami makikita, and it's there in the museum. Because the Agusan River, they call that not Agusan River before, Butua, Rio de Butua. No? That's not Agusan River. Ni Rio de Butua empties all the way. Alam mo ba kung saan yung Compostela? Yung ngayon na maraming gold. Yung mga diggings. Gold.
Compostela Valley ba?
Yes, Compostela Valley. That's the Davao Oriental ata ngayon. Binago na. May Occidental, may Oriental. Lahat yan nag-drain sa Agusan River. Or even is Esperanza, nagpapaning sila ng gold. Yung gold dust. If you get about a gram a day, that's about 2,000. Kaya doon sa Agusan River, bawal ang magpaning dito. Because it's still there. But what I'm is that in antiquity, during the antiquity, spice was a trade even during the Spanish, even the Egyptians. Babylonians. Dahil spice is also used as, alam naman nyo yun, preservative. Smell, about monotonous, walang taste, no? They use also embalming. They use embalming. Sa spice. Kaya na-discover nila sa mga kuwan nila. Mayroong spice. Kuwan yun, ha? During the Egyptian period. Ang source, I don't know what's the source. Why? I say about source because I have the oldest antique. Mahabang leg. African. Mahabang leg. Yeah, mahabang leg. And the best antique. That's about 13th century BC. 13th century BC. I have the oldest Chinese which is about, I think, 6 to 8 BC. So, aywan ko ba't nandyan? Baka dinala ng mga loko-loko sa Butuan, ibenta, pero ikaw ba may antique? Ba't mo dadalhin sa Butuan? Wala namang pera. Gano doon? Dadalhin mo sa Manila kasi nandyan ng pera. These are not brought. These are not fabricated things brought there, but these are things excavated. 6 feet, 4 feet deep, not on the surface. Kaya, mahabang istorya ng about. So, kasi Magellan, 500 years lang yan eh. Sige. He want to Christianize Lapu-Lapu or si Lapu-Lapu, no. All because he refused to put a tribute. If you pay tribute, it's already a surrender. They were made to pay tribute. Si Humabon, di ba? They refused. May powerful ako si Spain. Gusto kaya niyang sira, di ba? Pero si Lapu-Lapu refused to pay tribute. Ano yung tribute? Baboy, pig, sako ng bigas, sako ng corn. These were just the tribute requested. Lapu-Lapu refused. Si Sura pumayag. There were 2 captains there. Pero si Lapu refused. Why? Because he doesn't want to be conquered, to be possessed. Ang si Cebu, pumayag siya to be possessed. So they were Christianized. That's already sign of, kaya madali bumalik si Kuan. Although nahirapan si Legazpi, still, he was able to conquer si Tupas during the Legazpi expedition in the 1565.
Can you tell us what are your points po for the claim of Butuan po? And your message din po sa mga people na naniniwala for the claim of Butuan.
We have a monument there na pinagtataw kuno being just discarded by the Limasawa. Yan ang mahirap eh. Things that we have in Butuan are just being said, oh no, ganito. The monument is 1950s by the National Historic about Land. We have a monument not done by Filipinos. These were erected by Jesuits, Spaniards. The Carvalho Monument. 1872 Carvalho Monument in Butuan. It's there. In the bay near the shore. It's not in the mountain or 700 meters away from those in Limasawa. No. This is in the shore. And the claim, kasi dito yung sinabi ni Pigafetta noong rinaise, during the Mass, when the body of Christ was raised, lahat ng mga artilleries ng ships pinutok from a sign given by a shot by a musket at the shore. Kita mo yung sequence na yun. 3 yun, sequence. So how can it be in Limasawa na malayo yung Magallanes? Ngayon, sinabi na, no, hindi sa Magallanes, doon sa taas yun. Sandali. It's still impossible na yung sequence of events nandyan, near the shore, can be done. That's one of the reasons na Pigafetta's narrative is very clear. Nung malapit na kami sa shore, nagpaputok ang mga barko nila. Not barko. Ships, mahirap ships nila. Because the ships were anchored in Masawa, which is Masao now. And Butuan was near. Makikita eh. Makikita. So, paano makita mo kung ikaw nandun sa bundok, sa buod ng Butuan, or sa Limasawa, Magallanes, Mesa, or somewhere in Triana? Hindi mo makita magpaputok. Kasi yung nagpaputok nasa shore din, where that mass was celebrated near the shore, and there's a musket on the shore. He fired the musket, the artilleries from the ship. Napakaklaro. So, maraming rason. I think that book entails a lot of evidences, not just from Blairo version, but a lot of sources, which are primary and secondary sources. Ang kuwang ko lang is this, but inaantay ko yung sagot nila sa kaso. Na final. I'm expecting letters. Now, as I said a while ago, 15 lang yon. Marami pa akong hindi pinasok. Tignan ko kung paano nila sagutin yung 15. At pinakamalaki yung Bernardo de la Torre. Initially, that makes up almost about 80% of the decision of the Mujeres panel na admitted ni Borinaga na wala siyang source. So, again, if you talk about one island, because they want to talk only of one island, nasira. There were 2 islands or several islands, not just one island. So that favors more of the Butuan claim, not Limasawa. Because to the west, to the east of Limasawa, there's no island. The island noon is already Surigao, na malayo. It takes about 4-5 hours to trip. Ito nearby. Tinuro nearby. So that's the most evidence. So the others, I hope, kaya sabi ko, pag sumagot, I will give you the answer, and I hope that they can answer it well. Because if not, I filed damages of libel. Libel, insulto yun eh. Sinabi, oy, tamo na. Si JR, mga salitaan niya, conjectures or fiction. This activity is not fiction. Because these were done, these are actual. Pero kung sasabihin nyo, hindi siya nagpagawa nitong ilaw, several, no? These are not conjecture or fiction. That evidence that I have that the island of spies were under guise is in the archives of Lisbon. Proof that they went to Butuan.
May message na lang po sa mga tao po na naniniwala po dito sa
message, abangan na lang nila kasi sabi ko nga is ako lang ang nag-file ng kaso. If I'll be writing another history about claims, marami na sumusulat. Butuan, 4 na sumulat. Limasawa, 1 lang nagmasawa. Pero lahat ng mga Mujeres panel wrote 2-3 members, sa ating 2, sumulat na about Limasawa claim. They should not have been members of the Mujeres panel. Yun lang ang makong ko. They should not have been members of the Mujeres panel, the panels that should have been formulated or composed by the National Quincentennial Committee should have been neutral at the middle without, and then they should have done research because they were required to ascertain for the first time in 120 years of this claim will be claim of Limasawa be set back and brought back to Butuan. And where is it in Butuan? Kasi nangyari na sa Butuan, nahati na Butuan City. It's now in Baog, Magallanes, which is nearby. That was part of Butuan in 1966. Nahiwalay na lang, all because of political reasons. But that monument of Jose Maria Carvalho, who was supposedly maybe a direct descendant of How Carvalho, who was the friend of a successor of Magellan during the initial trip in 1521. Because there was an agreement that kung lahat namatay si Faliero or si Magellan, lahat nakasama sa trip has the right to own, and even their heirs can have the right to possess. So, between 1521 to 1872, para under Spain lahat yan eh. Wala naman tayong Pilipino noon eh. Pumasok na lang tayo, kailan? 1945. Commonwealth, even during the Commonwealth, Amerikano pa rin tayo eh. Di ba? So, I was glad enough that